Hi, my name is Jamie, and today I'm going to share an outline for a Puppet Playhouse Story Hour. The theme today is fairy tales. Puppet shows are great for reluctant readers and are proven to increase comprehension and retention of stories in young readers. This video can be used for educators to create their own story hours or even for parents who want to assist their reluctant reader. Today we're going to start with The Three Little Pigs puppet show by Paul Galdone.
Good.
Once upon a time, there was an old sow with 3 little pigs. She had no money to keep them, so she sent them off to seek their fortune. While wandering down a path, the first little pig met a man selling straw.
Please, sir, give me that straw to build me a house.
So the man did, and the little pig built his house with it. Along came a wolf, and he knocked at the door.
Little pig, let me come in.
No, no, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin.
Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in.
So he huffed, and he puffed, and he blew the house in, and he ate up the first little pig. The second little pig came across a man with a bundle of sticks.
Please, sir, give me those sticks to build myself a house.
So the man did, and the little pig built his house with them. Along came a wolf, and a knock at the door.
Little pig, let me come in.
No, no, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin.
Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in.
So he huffed, and he puffed, and he blew the house in, and he ate up the second little pig. The third little pig came across a man with a load of bricks.
Please, man, give me those bricks to build me a house.
So the man did, and the little pig built his house with them. Along came a wolf, and he knocked at the door.
Little pig, let me come in.
No, no, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin.
Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in.
Well, he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed. But he could not blow the house in. At last, the wolf stopped huffing and puffing.
Little pig, I know where there's a nice field of turnips.
Where?
On Mr. Smith's farm. I'll let you come tomorrow morning. We'll go together and get some turnips for dinner.
Very well. What time will you come?
Oh, at 6 o'clock.
Well, the little pig got up at 5. He went to Mr. Smith's farm and got the turnips before the wolf came to his house.
Little pig, are you ready?
Ready? I've been and come back again. I got a nice pot full of turnips for my dinner.
The wolf was angry, but then he thought of another way to get the little pig.
Little pig, I know where there's a nice apple tree.
Where?
Down in Mary Garden. I'll come for you at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. We can get some apples.
Well, the little pig got up the next morning at 4 o'clock and went for apples. He wanted to get back home before the wolf came, but it was a long way to Mary Garden, and then he had to climb the tree. Just as he was climbing back down with a basket full of apples, he saw the wolf coming.
Little pig, you got here before me. Are the apples nice?
Yes, very. I'll throw one down for you.
And he threw one as far as he could throw. While the wolf ran to pick it up, the little pig jumped down and ran home. The next day, the wolf came again.
Little pig, there's a fair at Shankin this afternoon. Would you like to come with me?
Oh, yes. When will you come get me?
At 3.
Well, the little pig went off at 2 o'clock and bought a butter churn at the fair. He was going home with it when he saw the wolf coming. The little pig jumped into a butter churn to hide. The churn fell over and rolled down the hill with the little pig in it. This frightened the wolf so much that he turned around and ran home. Later, the wolf went to the little pig's house and told him what happened.
A great round thing came rolling down the hill right at me.
Ha! I frightened you then. I went to the fair and bought a butter churn. When I saw you, I got in it and rolled down the hill.
I'm going to climb down your chimney and eat you up.
The wolf was very angry indeed. When the little pig heard the wolf on the roof, he hung a huge pot of water in the fireplace. Then he built a blazing fire. Just as the wolf was coming down the chimney, the little pig took the cover off the pot, and the wolf fell in. The little pig quickly put on the cover again, boiled up the wolf, and ate him for supper. And the little pig lived happily ever after.
After story hours, to check for comprehension and retention, it's good to ask a series of questions. For large groups, yes and no questions are the easiest. This way kids can simply call out the answer. In a one-on-one situation, more detailed questions can work. Some questions I use in this story hour include: did the first two little pigs make good houses? What did the wolf do to the first two houses? Was the third little pig the smartest? What happened to the wolf at the end of the story? Kids, especially little ones, like to get up and move around. At a story hour, it's best to do an activity in between two puppet shows or two stories. For my activity, I chose to unscramble a story. I broke the story of the three little pigs into 6 pieces. I read every piece aloud, and then I asked the kids which piece went first, and I called upon a kid who knew the answer. They came up and placed it in order, and as a group, we were able to reconstruct the story. This activity may be better to do individually, but it can be done easily as a group. After the activity, I asked the kids to be seated, and now I'm going to play Little Red Riding Hood by Ed Bryan.
Once upon a time, there lived a kind little girl named Little Red Riding Hood. She lived in a lovely home with her mother in a cottage at the edge of the forest. Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother was sick. She lived across the forest.
Little Red Riding Hood, your grandmother is ill. Would you please take her this basket of food to help her get well?
Of course, Mom. Let's pack the basket.
They filled the basket with lots of healthy food, like bananas, apples, grapes, and cheese. Soon the basket was packed, and Little Red Riding Hood was ready to go.
Now remember, Little Red Riding Hood, be careful in the forest and beware of the big, bad wolf.
Got it, Mom. See you later.
Little Red Riding Hood was not far along the path when the big, bad wolf approached her.
Oh, hello there, little girl. Where are you going?
Oh, just to my grandmother's house with a basket of food. She's ill.
Does your grandmother live far from here, Little Red Riding Hood?
No, she lives just across the forest in the first house in the village, the one with the red door.
Well, goodbye, Little Red Riding Hood. I hope your grandmother gets well soon.
Bye. Thank you, Wolf.
Little Red Riding Hood continued along the path until she came to a clearing in the forest filled with flowers. She wandered off the path to pick some.
How pretty. Grandmother loves daisies. I'll pick some to bring to her.
Farther along the path, Little Red Riding Hood came across an oak tree with acorns.
Oh, look, what lovely acorns. I'll put some in my basket. You never know when they might come in handy.
With the flowers and acorns in her basket, Little Red Riding Hood hurried along the path. She came across a huntsman who was holding a huge pot of honey.
Hello there. Would you be so kind to help me pour this honey into my jars? If you do, you can take a jar with you.
Of course.
Little Red Riding Hood stopped to help the huntsman, and he thanked her for her help. Then, with the flowers, the acorns, and the honey in her basket, Little Red Riding Hood skipped through the trees. Finally, Little Red Riding Hood arrived at her grandmother's house.
Hi, Grandma. I'm here with a basket full of wonderful food.
I'm in my bed, sweetheart.
It was dark inside of grandmother's house, but Little Red Riding Hood thought her grandma looked a little different.
Oh, Grandma, what big ears you have.
All the better to hear you with, my dear.
Oh, Grandma, what big eyes you have.
All the better to see you with, my dear.
Oh, Grandma, what big teeth you have.
All the better to eat you with, my dear.
The wolf sprang out of bed and chased Little Red Riding Hood all around the room.
I have flowers in my basket. If I put them under the wolf's nose, maybe he'll sneeze.
Little Red Riding Hood waved the flowers under the wolf's nose.
Achoo!
But that didn't stop him for long.
I have acorns. Maybe they'll make the wolf fall down.
She pulled out the acorns and threw them on the floor.
Ouch!
But that didn't stop him either.
The only item I have left is honey. It's worth a shot.
Little Red Riding Hood threw the honey all over the wolf.
Yuck! I'm all covered in sticky honey!
Just wait to see what happens next.
The honey smelled so good that a swarm of bees chased the big bad wolf out of the house down the path to never, ever be seen again.
Grandma, where are you?
In the cupboard, Little Red Riding Hood.
Red opened the cupboard and her grandmother jumped out. Little Red Riding Hood laid out the delicious food from her basket. Then she and her grandmother had a wonderful feast and lived happily ever after.
Similar to before, it's best to review the story with the kids. After Little Red Riding Hood, I asked, what did Little Red Riding Hood collect on her way to the grandma's house? Did Little Red Riding Hood listen to her mother's instructions? Who was Little Red Riding Hood's grandma in bed? Did Little Red Riding Hood save the day? After activities and some stories, crafts help kids enforce what they just learned. In a puppet show, in this puppet show, or story hour, the kids created a wolf sock puppet as their craft. My story hour is for kindergarten to second graders, so I pre-cut the pieces for them because it's hard for little kids to cut felt. But they were able to glue them on with Aleene's felt and foam tacky glue. And they created a cute little wolf puppet. Now, to buy more time and to keep the kids entertained, I printed out pigs, which the kids colored and cut out and pasted onto popsicle sticks. So at the end of the craft and the story hour, the kids had 2 beautiful puppets to bring home with them. It's also nice to let the kids have a turn using their puppets and yours at the end of the program at the puppet stand. I also crafted a parent survey to get parents' feedback and test how effective my program is. This may be something you're interested in and maybe something that you're not. Finally, it's best to have a series of backup activities at your program. These can be simple songs that you pre-selected that correlate with your program, so the kids can get up, sing, and dance, and just have fun. I hope this video is helpful for educators and parents. If you enjoyed it, please watch the video about my other 2 story hours, and thanks for watching.